1. The Great Magician. As above, so below, an axiom said to be an ancient spell from which all stories grow. Alone, always in an abyss, awareness awoke to its almightiness. Attention abstract, one absolute authority, asked 3 ageless questions and set the universe in motion. Aspiration appeared and actualized by analogy. First came the alphabet, all the way from A to T. Each character contains a charm and alludes to ancient arcana, acting as an almanac, a key to archetype, astrology, alchemy, and even greater mystery. To know the tarot, tree of life, or path to ascension, first master the letters of the Phoenician. Every position aligns with an allegory and adds up to tell an eternal story. Attunement to the patterns of these symbols offers guiding advice to advance along any adventure, acquainting you with the answer of their author, I am. Two, the High Priestess. Before there was there was mu, no thing at all. Being began with a boundary, a division between outside and in. Beams of light bled down from heaven and bred the ocean, burying all of its secrets within. Breaking tides beneath the moon became tied in place, creating the first blocks of sand. From these small boxes grew boulders, and eventually bare land. Earth gave birth to songbirds, bumblebees, fruit trees, and so many seeds, all bearing the story of where we now stand, the spell of Wonderland. Beginning with nothing but a seed in hand, a bright magician believed and breathed a bond into the ground. This blessing became sound, bringing balance to barren land by bestowing a safe base to build a house. The sapling took root and began branching and bending, bursting with beautiful blossoms and fruit. A sign of purity, the brilliant tree was used as a beacon, which beckoned the bold to remember their origin. But as the wisdom behind its inception was slowly forgotten, the beating heart of the twin pillar became only a reflection, no longer a bridge to the city's true foundation. 3. The Empress. Children are taught their ABCs, but not the conceptual charm these characters contain. Each letter is constructed to connect to a timeless clue, which culminate in the great story of you. It is composed of 3 chapters: the cradle of current context, the call to adventure, and the curation of a higher order. Like clockwork, the cross from 1 to 2 caused something new to be created. Matters changing is the core of mother and meaning, to which we all cling. In spring, the calendar compels creatures to copulate while we cultivate crops, tie knots, and combine as couples. Circumstance constrains events to a close inner circle, a central hub of control. Curved baby bumps emerge like camel humps and contract to set the cycle of life in motion. From this clump of cells comes compassion and care, as babies must be carried everywhere. The comfort of a full womb or curled crescent moon are captured by the constellation of Cancer, which crawls towards the sun at the start of the summer. This is the time we first remember. 4. The Emperor. Dawn rises upon a new day in You and True are up early, delivering a new green door to the entrance of the city. This delta of control had been destroyed during the disaster, leaving the little town undefended. Danger undetected, determined forces defiant of its distinct design deliberately divided the city against its divine doctrine. Princess Musa designated you and True with the duty to discover and drive out the detractors, or else demonstrate to them the dignity of distinguished devotion. Once the door is dealt with, True deploys the guards to direct and declare everyone to gather in the town square. This fourth dimension, defined by action, is the domain of the divine masculine, the diligent dad that delegates, disciplines, and develops. 5. The Master of Mysteries. Education offers a window into wisdom for the next generation, exposing children to the ethic of their culture and experience of their elders. Views must be elucidated, the essence of existence explained. Expressing established knowledge equips pupils with an exact outlook, which they exercise when engaging with their external environment. Currently, our modern learning institutions are in shambles. Everywhere from early elementary schools to elite universities, students are suffering from a pervasive sense of disenchantment. The system is designed to engender eager employees instead of energizing excellence by engaging with deeper meaning. This disconnect can affect entire civilizations, as encounters with esotericism and examples of enlightenment are slowly forgotten. Reducing our understanding of reality to the empirical evidence of our five senses and rational mind leaves the higher order realms that emerge behind. Explicit epistemology may endow us with the ability to emulate and earn, but fails to extend the enticing key that enables entrance into the true heart of prosperity. The evils of contemporary university cannot be emphasized enough. They exploit the youth by accepting far more students than there are careers in their field, extracting exorbitant amounts of debt from the moment they enter adulthood. The esteem of higher education eventually turns academia into an expectation rather than an elevated endeavor intended for the exceptional. In exchange, standards plummet, plunging students into an extended adolescence as the first 20 years of their life are spent in school. A timeless alternative to the toil of STEM is to examine its roots. Classic training in logic, arithmetic, research, statistics, psychology, and rhetoric would ground pupils with universal tools instead of discrete skills, emboldening their own independence, agency, and adaptability. Exalting wisdom and jubilation in light of exhibitions of erudite insight are the enigmatic features this character embodies. 6. The Lovers. Following the flock of townsfolk, you slowly find your way to the front of the gathering. Standing at the foot of the clock tower with True by your side, you begin your speech. Friends and foes alike, I would like to formally apologize for the fiasco that befell as a consequence of my connection. I know many of you faced fear and fury like never before, yet I implore you to not let a few fanatics shake your faith in the city's foundation. The tree that functions as your protector never failed you or fell. Rather, it was my presence here that put a fissure in its spell. Your families and fellow men shall be safe as soon as I part, but first, we must address the foreigners in our company. You sorcerers and conjurers, so fascinated by the good fortune of others, forget the role of focus upon your fate. Familiarize yourself with this fact if you wish to make your future great. Fixing your life to a higher ideal is the foremost step towards maturation, as limitation is what fastens you to purpose and direction. No one here will fault you for the past, for every decision unfolds from a given frame. However, you have reached a fork in the road, and now must choose if you would rather flee or adapt to the city's values. Either continue to seek favor through illusion and deception, or see how you fare in the land of good reason. You are free to feel and do as you will, but as I stand before thee, I am reminded of what a little frog once told me. Beliefs beget outcomes. Causality doesn't just work in one direction, but two, and the future will unfold in accordance with whatever you set your mind to. So be careful with what you set your sights upon. Your attention and your aim are your most valuable assets. If you want to change the world, you can. But first, you must change your mind. 7. The venture. Going out into the world is the start of every grand venture. Any attachment generates growth in pursuit of a given goal, which eventually graduates into separation from the familiar in order to grasp something greater. As giant institutions lose their ground to the gifts gained by technology, alternative forms of organization and achievement must emerge. Greedy universities will give way to the revival of guilds and guidance by masters. Instead of gargantuan schools that lack direction, gatekeeping access, and stalling momentum, the reins of control shall be handed to those with real expertise and skin in the game. Groups of professionals will gather together to govern their trade and train new members. Instructing apprentices under the guidance of mentors guarantees that no student gets a degree without being granted a gratifying career. Moreover, this mutual value exchange should be free, not costly to the trainee. Such an arrangement is better for all parties, for why waste years gauging ability through scantrons when you could get hands-on? Garnering credentials through superficial assessment loses its grip on genuine investment. Only by restoring the former glory of guilds will practitioners be galvanized with the authority to truly advance their craft and explore new terrains of possibility. 8. Strength. Her Royal Highness, Princess Musa of the fair and graceful, appears at the edge of the crowd just as your sermon comes to its conclusion. She is dressed in a simple white gown that rests just shy of her shoulders and adorned with a thin golden crown. 2 bands bearing the letters UM overlaid on her forehead fasten a couple of red flowers near her ears. She is a spitting image of when you first met her at the palace. By her side strides an enormous lion whose brilliant mane shimmers in the sunlight. A hush falls over the audience as they take notice of this magnificent sight. "Hello," says the princess. "You have heard the good word of our troublesome ward. Now we are here to ensure that you honor it. This lion is Azabov, the gatekeeper. He comes to our country occasionally to herald the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter. This town shall not heal until the dark magic within our walls is cast out and higher purpose rises in its place. If you doubt the order was founded upon, then please be gone. If, however, you have been hostile to our home and now would like to learn the source of its strength, consider this a new dawn. All you who are not of this city must accompany us to the gate. It is time to leave our little haven for good, or else forsake your sorcery to heighten that which is truly great. Heed my call, for if you try to hide here any longer, your hubris shall be used as an example for all." You and a couple dozen others follow Musa and Azabov to the new green door that marks the threshold. The lion halts at the gate and waits as the princess pulls it open. "This is the way for you who wish to find your own," she states. "Don't hesitate. Make your choice now, before it's too late." 8 charmers part, leaving you with 11 more characters. Azabov approaches each, softly speaks, and then exhales upon their skin. As the lion's breath washes over every face, you watch as a heavy darkness is lifted and replaced by light, bright grace. The lion comes to you last and kisses your brow, purring gently, "Thou hast done well. Courage and compassion are all I can grant thee, but in my throat is what must be grasped to complete thy journey." Heart bigger and braver than the moment before, you gingerly reach your hand into the beast's wet maw. Inside his jaw is warm and slippery, but a few inches deeper, your fingers take hold of hard, hot metal, and you delicately extract a golden key. As above lets out a triumphant roar and leaps outside the great green door. Musa shuts the gate behind him and locks it tight with a little help from the key contained within. Nine, the Seeker. Initiation into any new realm of inquiry starts with a clue, a red thread you can set your mind to. Inciting influence will strike from anywhere, be it a yellow brick road or intriguing white hair. The path ahead is insecure and isolating, illuminated only by one's own inner light and the occasional insight. This is a rite of passage for those intent on seeking wisdom, as independent introspection is instrumental to cultivating intuition. The underworld of uncertainty is shady and malevolent. Reason alone in its cool waters is rendered insufficient. I injects life into earth to interpret the sky. It must integrate mother with father if it wishes to fly. Only by descending into darkness and fear can inspiration rise out of ignorance and make the way clear. 10. Fortune. Join me, says the princess, offering you her hand. We have one more job to do. I need you to come with me back to the palace, for Aunt Hilary has found you a way home. You feel like you should be jumping for joy, but in truth are rather disappointed. Ever since learning it was you who put in jeopardy, you felt the need to justify your presence in the city. That's wonderful, you tell the princess as you journey towards the castle. And just so you know, I'm really sorry for all the trouble I've caused you and your people. Nonsense, says the girl. You know, it's funny. The story of my city starts with a fool, an outsider whose presence sparks the juxtaposition required to jot down all the other characters. Only through an absence of thought can something else truly be known. All this talk of trees, keys, and stories lately, I'll admit, I don't quite understand how they all fit together. The princess laughs. It's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? I'll try my best to be clear. My great-grandfather, the wise magician who founded knew the everlasting spell of all creation. Hidden in the letters themselves, he seeded the city with their story and brought order to our world through the power of word. The tree he planted joined our fate to eternity, rooted in deep truth and reaching towards divinity. The key to is known by everyone. It comes in many forms, but the essence is always the same. Its central charms were enshrined in a set of cards we use for fortune-telling and games. If I were to explain them through a story you're familiar with, it would go like this. 0 is without, nothing, the pure potential of a curious outsider. That's you. 1 awakens an author who sets our world in motion, asking 3 eternal questions. 2 begets binary trees, complexities, and the relational fabric of reality. 3 creates life, causing the emergence of consciousness and movement through time. 4 deals with that which has been determined and provides direction. 5 educates others with reason and tradition, encouraging deeper exploration. 6 fixes personal freedom to a foundational structure. 7 gains ground by going out into the world. 8 handles protection, policing borders with care. 9 involves rites of passage and individual responsibility. 10 judges exchange. It is the jurisdiction of regulation, work, debts, and fortune. 11 keeps us in alignment with the kingdom of wisdom. 12 lets the innocent take the fall for sin and leads to a transition. 13 melts mind and matter, reordering the world through the magic word of its maker. 14 nurtures a fresh start in greater harmony with nature. 15 obscures action with obstacles from outside. 16 presents an abrupt plight of the dominant perspective. 17 quells chaos by providing higher quality guidance and inspiration. 18 reveals final tests, needs, and intuition. This is the position we're in right now. 19 symbolizes the sun, the source of all glory, success, and stability. 20 transcends time and space, liberating the righteous from their final resting place. 21 very well might surprise you, for a key to our tradition is to place the fool here, finished their voyage and on the road to completion. 22 winds up back exactly where we started, wiser and reunited with the whole. What about the final 2 letters, you ask? I remember the key containing Y and Z. That's true, says Musa. Those we added as a little clue just for you, 0. 11. Control. Knowledge is acquired when action grasps an outcome. Either one is met with what they wanted from the outset, or an unexpected result causes them to course correct. Karma keeps individual will in alignment with the higher organizing principle. Lower-level inputs interact to create complex consequences which must be experienced firsthand to truly understand what's within your command. Sentimental attachment alone is insufficient, for you are but one of many participants in a much larger system. In order to achieve any desire, one must first become aware of this entanglement and learn to balance their behavior accordingly. Attunement to nature's underlying structure, and also the power of that which is higher, turns the seeker into a knower and co-creator. Apprehending the inner workings of reality provides the key to navigating it successfully, allowing one to take full control of their potential. The closer our society is to possessing these universal processes, the more it shall thrive and come alive. 12. Sacrifice. Late in the afternoon, you and the princess arrive at the palace. She takes you into the little conservatory within the throne room, where you are greeted by Aunt Hilary. The old lady is leaning against the enchanted tree, right next to a large hole in the earth. "Look who's back," she smiles. "I was up all night searching for the white rabbit, but that treacherous hare seems to have vanished into thin air. However, it seems to be your lucky day, as I believe I discovered the link between our lands that led you astray. Remember how a few of my scouts got lost yesterday? I sent a few others to the end of their trail, and found the entrance to a tunnel where their signal suddenly stops. They must have went into what you call the real world, which is why they lost connection with my colony. I've expanded the passage so that you may try to get home safely." The thought of crawling through more dirt is not exactly appealing, but you're willing to let go of that trepidation, knowing that your presence in is a liability to the city. "Thank you, Aunt Hilary," you say. "The lessons I've learned from you and Princess Musa have given me a new lease on life. I understand so much more than I did before, and I owe it all to the lore of this luminous land." "And thanks to you, the legend of our little world has come alive," replies the princess. "The light of your consciousness is what set this whole story in motion to begin with. Without a willing audience to experience our tale, none of this could have happened." You hug them both goodbye through tear-filled eyes and turn to take your leave. Leering over the last hurdle between you and liberation, you place one foot in the pit. 13. Deluge. Magic is a moment of death and transformation. The world as we know it is melted and molded into something new through a mysterious higher power. A shower of mayhem might rain from heaven, or the Red Sea part and make way for a fresh start. The waters of chaos drown material rule in order to magnify that which is most meaningful. The second half of our journey is managed from the top, the mesmerizing realm of myths, morals, and mysticism. We make sense of reality through concepts and categories. The word malevolent or mother intuitively activates a symbolic structure that may not be mapped entirely. Mental territory is far too intricate and complex for any memeplex to be distilled by man without diluting its essence. Metaphorical modes of thought contain their own motivational significance, which operate independently of any mortal fact of matter. Reality is manipulated through the magic word, which casts a spell over mundane causality and modifies movement in the name of metaphysical supremacy. Mud and meat are mutated by manifestations of the mind, dissolving earthly attachments in favor of the magnificent sublime. 14. Renewal. Now wait just a minute, cries Musa, pointing at the enchanted tree above your head. New fruit is rapidly bursting forth from its flowers and ripening before your eyes. This only happens at times of renewal, when we are nearing greater harmony with our nature. Take one, declares the girl. It will grant wisdom when you need it most. You reach up and pluck a red apple, which instantly withers in your hands. My mistake, apologizes the princess. You must remunerate the tree's nursery tale in order to inherit its nourishing gift. But I don't know your great-grandfather's spell, you insist. Maybe not the precise words he spoke, but surely you've learned the story by now, offers Aunt Hilary. Oh, of course. The key is contained in the essence, not the nuance of the nouns. You think for a number of minutes and then press your lips against the tree's trunk, whispering the words. Action below carries drive, echoes find great heights. Inside joins karma, liberates meaning, neutralizing obscure power. Quaint reason servant to virtue, whole, your zero. Instantly, an apple falls and lands directly in your hand. You take a bite, anticipating some novel insight, but nothing changes. You already have. You're a natural, exclaims the girl. Take the seeds with you. The native source of our glory is now yours to share. Hopefully it will spread and nurture your world next. You thank them both once more and leap into the ground with newfound ease, no longer a novice at navigating networks or trees. 15. Force. Ominous figures stand in the shadows at every major crossroad. Arm outstretched, they offer opportunity and opulence in exchange for mere obedience. Once an oath is made, it shapes our lives for good or evil. So one ought to know when to object and stand their ground in order to overcome the road ahead. Construct support with props like pillars and shields to protect yourself from opposition by others. Obstructions and obstacles can be a force for either offense or defense from outsiders. Organizations driven out of the open and into darkness become obligated to obfuscate their wisdom so it can't be used against them. This is the origin of occultism. 16. Revelation. Plunged into darkness, perceiving anything within the pit is impossible. Pressing up against the walls of the passage provides the only proof that you've made any progress. Hours pass, until suddenly, a low rumble from further along the tunnel causes you to pause, panicked. The path ahead abruptly crumbles and collapses, trapping you deep within the dirt. A strange pattering sound proceeds through the ground until it is pounding against your prison walls, and a piercing white light penetrates the earth. It's the White Rabbit. His glowing pocket watch illuminates the passage, revealing his face and fur to be smeared by blackness. clutches a pitch-black potion in his paw, half drunk and possessed with petulance. "You thought this was over?" the hare slurs. "You really thought I'd let you get away? Please, we're on the precipice of a new paradigm. Just because your lot meddled with our plot doesn't mean we'll be stopped. Now tell me, where's the High Witch of Wu?" "Exactly where she belongs. Lost in the land of unreason," you respond, rather proud. "How did you find her there?" demands the hare. You seem to forget that everything is connected. You may run, but you can't hide from good reason forever. The power of truth is that it always catches up with you. Now tell me, why did you try to topple the city? The black rabbit chuckles fondly. "It was so easy bringing you here. Poor humans can't help but let their curiosity get the better of them. My mistress, Mira, sent me to seduce a fool and poke a hole in pesky idealism. All it took were a couple parlor tricks, and its pathetic policy of compassion took care of the rest. That place wants to pretend that peace and pure intention is enough to protect it from annihilation. But we'll prove them wrong, just you wait. There's a price for promoting fantasies which will never work in practice, and that city is powerless against the constancy of chaos. Don't you understand? Good reason is good for nothing. Every high tower falls to dust in the end, and I propose we bring back down to earth. You and I both know that the real world is not so simple. Surely you, of all people, can see my perspective." "17. The Star." Quandaries call us to embark upon a quest. To find answers to life's greatest questions, we must first traverse deep waters before a source of inspiration shines from heaven. Silent nights are illuminated by quiet lights which quiver softly in the sky, a promise of hope and guidance from on high. Polaris, our North Star, maintains a fixed position within the cosmos, and in turn becomes quite a good tool for navigation and direction. This quintessential quality causes it to be a symbol of divine instruction, a consistent mouth of wisdom that quells uncertainty and instigates the final phase in our journey. 18. The Moon. Ravenously, the rabid rabbit takes another rapid swig from the ink-colored vial. "What's in that vile thing, anyhow?" you inquire. "Really, you seem rather ill." "Right here is the essence of Mira's power," responds the hare. "She entrusted it to me when she snuck into the city, but now I can't return it to her. I thought if I drank some, I could use magic to reveal her location, but it's not working for some reason." He rattles the bottle under your nose. "You try. Maybe I'm resistant because it requires a human? Use Mira's power to help me hunt for where she resides, and in return I'll be your guide back to the real world. No one else knows the way. You and I, we rely on each other now. Reject my offer and you'll rot underground forever." You can't really have such ridiculous loyalty to the rule of a city that's based in pure fantasy. It's all just a story, remember? Recognize the fact that nothing in this realm reflects our reality and help me dispel this world of its repugnant delusions once and for all. The rabbit's rant causes you to realize the real reason why his body rejects Mira's power. He doesn't believe in anything greater than himself. His cynicism results in rancor and regression, as he is resigned to only the material dimension. Channeling dark magic relies on self-assured lies, unlike the deep magic which gives rise to the rest of creation. The latter receives power through participation in a grand narrative, while the former represents mere personal manipulation. You reply by reaching for the black vial and pouring it over the earth with a sizzle. The rabbit squeaks and leaps to the ground, pounding his paws into the mud. Why do you have to ruin everything? You'll regret this, you reprehensible human being. Run away then, you retort. I've had enough of your reductive venom. 19. The Sun. Success comes to those who set their sights upon the sky. Only by seeking and acting in service of life's source will you become a force for good. Strength, security, and splendor all descend from a higher order, a sacred supreme structure. The struggle of aligning with this divine will takes great skill, like threading your soul through the eye of a needle. Senses must be synthesized with the stuff of stars and words from the wise. Those who see acts of faith as superstitious will never satisfy their search for what is truly delicious. Fruit trees spread their seeds through the sweet nectar we all savor, and the core key to salvation shares a similar flavor. A sort of childlike wonder and serenity is necessary to soar beyond the squalor and shine bright, for shadows cannot scare those whose hearts are made of light. 20. The Last Dawn. The treacherous hare scampers off into the dark, leaving you to the test of a fresh start. Thinking through everything you've been taught along your travels, you realize that if Wonderland's creation story is true, then there must be two ways to navigate its terrain. If that which is below was made to mirror what is high, then anything that entered from the bottom must be able to escape through the sky. Taking a seed from your pocket, you plant it in the damp earth and tell it the tale of its birth. Instantly, a tree bursts forth and erupts through the dirt, causing a cascade of soil to tumble down as it ascends through the ground. Grabbing a clump of earth, you start scaling the branches until you've reached the top of its crown. Then you take a bit of soil, moisten it with your spit, add a second seed, and secure it among the twigs. Again, you tell it a tale as old as time, and soon are able to continue your climb. Repeating this cycle using different words that activate the same underlying potential, you eventually break free into the night. The taste of fresh air is a welcome respite, but you're not quite done yet. You carry on planting trees until your hands are sore and you're swaying in the breeze. Head among the clouds, you can see the totality of Wonderland, everything from the maze to Aunt Hilary's cabin and the town of Dawn comes as you triumphantly transcend into heaven, ready to begin the first and final chapter. 0. The Fool. Value resides in the heart. It is the vital guide that no master can teach, for some things must be experienced very personally before they can be known. That's what this grand voyage is all about. It's a vivid visit into the visceral realm of meaning and unknown ventures. Without the fool as volunteer, there can be no call, no fall, and no expansion. The decision to step beyond the veil and pursue enlightenment is only viable when there are shadowy villains to vanquish and visions of victory. As a character in a story much greater than fiction, you are a vessel for the charm that activates spiralation. Vitality is the virtue of the vagabond, the valiant ability to take life in stride, stretch oneself wide, and sink their teeth into the vastness of reality. The hero's vulnerable naivety is also the source of his strength. For every vector he encounters on the road to wisdom or tree of life, he multiplies tenfold. Every 0 needs something to press up against before it has any value. 21. The World. Way up high in the wide white sky, you wind your way out of Wonderland. the bright light of home a welcome sight for sore eyes. You wander into the world with a handful of seeds and 3 eternal questions on your mind. Who am I? Why am I here? What can I will? No amount of wisdom can work out the answers. We set the whole wheel of creation in motion just to get a taste of that which is without, all the empty space which gives the signs their shape. Watching for patterns, we begin to use symbols, writing what we witness with the promise of return. We use X to mark the spot and wear a cross to signify a greater will. Waking from the womb of the whimsical wood and walking into the wild, wanting to find our worth and grow wings, that's what life's all about. Your journey ends here, traveler, yet every epilogue yields the start of an even greater adventure. What comes next from the characters composing these chapters is yours to explore. I've spent the past 4 years creating a self-contained system of philosophy as an offering to all. Now it is time to put the story aside and begin expanding my horizons. The mission of the series is far from complete. It's only just getting started. I hope you've enjoyed our journey down the rabbit hole, and I would love to hear any feedback you have to share. I plan on hosting a live stream soon after this episode releases, where I dive a little deeper into the topic, answer questions, and get into some of the areas and implications left unexplored. This series of mine is finally complete, but there is always more to come. If you would like to keep up with me and find out what I'm up to or when I release next, please subscribe to the series and follow me on X or Instagram. If you wish to share your thoughts, you can email me at janeblooms8@gmail.com or leave a comment on my Substack. Thank you so much for visiting Wonderland, especially you who have been here from the start.